3, hit it!
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. And today I wanted to share a story that my mentor George Pransky shared on a recent masterclass as part of Supercoach Academy that, to my mind, speaks to something very fundamental in terms of what not only makes our relationships work better, but what makes a tremendous difference in our businesses. And that's true whether our businesses are anything to do with sharing this understanding, sharing the principles, sharing wisdom, or even if our business is just any business that involves human beings. And these words are not words George would use. He used the first word, heartfelt, but he did not use the second word, bullshit. But I'm going to use both words. And in the story, he talked about how when his kids were young and in school, one of the teachers was interested in having George come in. George was a noted psychologist at the time, and speak to the kids. But he warned him. He said, these kids have about a 30-second to 2-minute attention span. So you might want to just, plan very, very, very short little points and then maybe games or something like that, whatever you do. And George was like, well, no, I feel I should be able to talk to kids and they should be able to listen to me for an hour. And George went in the first time and he said it was a disaster. He said the kids, 30 seconds was a stretch before they would wander off. And George is one of these people who, when something doesn't go well, he seems to respond by getting really curious instead of upset. And so he was like, And he tried a few more times and it didn't go great, but it got a little better each time. And he decided to start recording the sessions. And when he'd listen back to the recording, he would notice there were periods of time where the kids were completely present, completely silent, completely there. And then lots of times where they weren't. And when he played it back enough times, he realized, the kids are the most present when I am the most heartfelt. When I'm sharing something that is really real for me, really alive for me, really fresh for me, even if I'm completely inarticulate about it. And every time I go into one of my raps, one of my comedy routines, one of my things that wow my clients and people in live seminars, the kids go, they're off. They don't care. So it's almost like the difference between when he was heartfelt, it was like people listening to a real person. And when it was bullshit, when it was pre-recorded and just being played like on a tape recorder, then they had no interest. And he started to notice and experiment with that deliberately with the kids and with his adult clients. And so he would deliberately try and spend more and more of his teaching time heartfelt and less sharing the great riffs that he'd come up with in the past. And he found it not only made a real difference with the kids, where they could now sit and listen to him for a half an hour at a time, but it made an incredible difference with the adults too, because at some level, we've all got that bullshit detector and we've all got that heartfelt detector. And even if we don't agree with what somebody is sharing that is heartfelt, we're inclined to listen. We're inclined to hear them out because we can tell it's really meaningful to them. And so maybe there's something there for us. And I have found, while I didn't have the language for it, that is absolutely true in my own work. I've been doing this for a long time. Some of you have been listening to me do this for a long time. And I have certain bits. I have certain stories I kind of know will work, and metaphors I kind of know will work. And if they come up fresh in the moment, I will share them. But I can actually, in my own head, hear what a Michael Neill robot would say in response to a question. And wherever possible, I don't let the robot take over. And I wait for something fresh, something real, something heartfelt. And whenever that thing comes through, not only does it feel more alive in me, but it just has so much more of an impact on a listener, on a client, on an audience. And all I want you to do today is play with this over the next week. Start to notice whether you're out on a sales call or you're teaching or you're writing or you're talking to a loved one. When are you being fresh in the moment, heartfelt? And when are you just saying? When are you just saying stuff because you say stuff? When are you saying stuff you always say? When are you just talking to hear yourself talk? When are you playing the same story, the same tape that you've played 1,000 times before? And whenever you notice, if you're willing, take a pause. Make space for something new and real and heartfelt to come through. And say that instead. And if you really don't have anything new and fresh and heartfelt, maybe that is a subtle clue that it's probably not time for you to talk. It might be a wonderful, wonderful time for you to listen or just enjoy the space through which what is fresh, what is heartfelt, what is alive will come. Have fun, learn heaps, and happy exploring. I'll talk with you soon.